Have you ever been hurt so badly that forgiveness felt impossible? What if the person who wronged you never apologized? Would you still be able to let go of the pain? Today, I want to share the story of Daniel, a man who wrestled with the hardest command Jesus ever gave. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Luke 6, verse 27 to 28. His journey to forgiveness wasn't easy, but it changed his life in ways he never expected. Daniel's story. Daniel was a hardworking man who had spent years building his small business. It wasn't a huge success, but it was enough to provide for his wife and 2 kids. He poured everything into it, late nights, early mornings, endless sacrifices. He trusted his business partner James like a brother. But one day, Daniel's world came crashing down. He discovered that James had been stealing money from their company for years. By the time Daniel realized it, it was too late. The business collapsed, and he lost everything: his savings, his clients, his reputation. James disappeared without a word, leaving Daniel to pick up the pieces. The betrayal cut deep. Daniel wasn't just angry, he was consumed by hatred. Every night he replayed the lies, the deception, the way James had smiled while stabbing him in the back. The bitterness festered, affecting his relationships, his health, and even his faith. He stopped going to church, unable to pray without rage filling his heart. One evening, his wife found him sitting in the dark, staring at an old photo of him and James. "You have to let this go," she said gently. "It's eating you alive." Daniel scoffed. "How am I supposed to forgive someone who isn't even sorry?" That Sunday, after much hesitation, he went back to church. The sermon was on Luke 6, 27 to 28. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. The words hit Daniel like a punch to the gut. Forgiving James felt impossible. How could he love someone who had ruined his life? But as the pastor continued, Daniel realized something. His hatred wasn't punishing James, it was punishing him. That night, Daniel made a decision. He prayed for the first time in months, not for justice, not for revenge, but for God to help him let go. He didn't feel like forgiving, but he chose to obey. Every time bitterness crept in, he whispered, "Lord, I release this to you." Weeks turned into months. The anger lessened. One day he heard that James had hit rock bottom, bankrupt, homeless, alone. Instead of feeling satisfaction, Daniel felt something else, compassion. And then the unthinkable happened. James reached out. He was broken, ashamed, and desperate. He expected Daniel to lash out, to reject him completely. Instead, Daniel said 6 words that changed everything. "I've already forgiven you, James." James wept. So did Daniel. It wasn't easy, and it didn't erase the past, but it set them both free. Forgiveness didn't mean trusting James again in business. It didn't mean pretending the betrayal never happened, but it meant Daniel was no longer chained to the pain. He was finally at peace. Daniel's story is a powerful reminder that forgiveness isn't about letting someone off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. Who in your life have you struggled to forgive? Are you holding on to pain that God is asking you to release? Remember, Jesus didn't just tell us to love our enemies. He showed us how when he forgave those who nailed him to the cross. Prayer, Lord, I admit that forgiveness is hard, especially when the wounds are deep. But I don't want to be trapped by bitterness any longer. Help me to love, bless, and pray for those who have wronged me. Give me the strength to forgive as you have forgiven me. Amen. If this story spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, who's someone you need to forgive? See you in the next video.